Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Land Stories Live. I am your host, Dave Denniston of Generation Family Properties, LLC, where our goal is to help hundreds of people just like you to own land. Most of all, we want to be able to tell your land story. Now, before we get to the featured property for today, which you're watching this live, you can see it behind you. Let's get to my favorite and awesome bad dad joke. And then we'll talk about how does a land contract work. So stay tuned for that to figure out how does a land contract work. All right, are you ready? I used to work in a shoe recycling shop. It was soul destroying. Oh, the bad dad jokes. That's the only one I got for today, everyone, because it was soul destroying. Well, with that, I want to tell you a little bit about land contracts. First, what is a land contract? Basically, there's two different ways that people end up paying for a property. First, they might do a cash sale where they pay for a property outright. So many of us do that. We pay for a property outright, and we might go through self-closing, or we might go through a title company to get that done. The second way is that we might do owner financing. So you're going to refer to some of our prior episodes. We'll put them right in the show notes so you can go check them out, where we talk some about owner financing and how that works. But what I wanted to walk through you today is the actual land contract in terms of what does it look like. So if you want to tune into YouTube or go onto our webpage, we'll have the video there where you can watch me walk you through it. But if you are on your way to the gym, or you are listening in your car, or wherever you may be listening to this, I'm going to make sure to get into some of the details there for you too. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you. This is what a term contract looks like. So what it'll have on it, in this case, we have, about, I think, 10 different pages, which next week, Christy's going to talk about the purchase sale agreement and how that's different than the land contract. So we usually send this to someone after they've signed and they've put down a down payment for owner financing. So at this point, we figured out what are they going to be paying us on a monthly basis, what's the down payment they're going to do. All of that has been established. As a matter of fact, they may have already put down the down payment after they had signed the purchase sale agreement. And we get this to people about a week later. So you can see here, this is what it might look like. What we normally do is we send this through DocuSign. So people get this through DocuSign when they have a chance to check it out. And we use two different softwares, MoonClerk and Stripe. I have another video on that will link in the show notes here as well, where you could watch to see how does MoonClerk and Stripe work with the monthly payments. Now, what we have here, and this is kind of the overview right now, we have a note here about the legal documents, the contract, a promissory note, payments, land contract. So all of that stuff is here. So the promissory note, what it'll have on it, it'll have your name, it'll have the financed amount. So the owner financing price on it minus whatever equity you might have put in. So let's say you put down, the price was $10,000 and you put down $1,000 of equity. That's going to be $9,000 remaining that would get financed. That gets put right here on the promissory note. And then it has your first payment date right here. So usually what happens is we get a down payment from someone, and 1 month later, we would get that next payment. If someone wants to pay sooner, they are welcome to. And then we have in here all the specifics, the number of months of principal and interest. We have on here the principal and interest someone's going to pay. We're going to have on here a note servicing fee, which helps us to figure out the credit cards and our bookkeeper for keeping track of all this stuff. And then what we include in here are the monthly taxes. So the property taxes we prorate on a monthly basis. So if the property taxes were $48 a year, then we would put that right here as $4 a month. That would be estimated for property taxes. And then we add up the principal and interest, the note servicing fee, the taxes, and that gives us the whole monthly payment. So we keep track of those taxes so you don't have to pay them. We pay them on your behalf. And then you can see we have that first payment date. We have an interest rate, which can range from 0 up to 10%, depending on how long you're financing it, which again, I'll link back in terms of how we do financing here. You notice here, we have here in the contract a grace period. So if you are late, usually we do a 5-day grace period. Day 1, there's not going to be any sort of penalty. Day 2, there's no penalty. Day 3, there's no penalty. Day 4, there's no penalty. Day 5, there's no penalty. But starting on day 6, we would normally charge a $30 late fee. Oh, excuse me, yawned there for a second. So that's something that's right here in the contract that you can read once you get it. And then we have some other information that's really important here regarding defaults. So we say here that you have 15 days with which to cure a default and to have no more than 30 days. So basically, you have this late fee, which happens after 5 days, and then you have another 30 days after that to try and cure a default. And we will work with you as much as possible. And there's a bunch of other mumbo jumbo that I think is not as important. Now we get to the actual land contract. So what we were just talking about was the promissory note. In the land contract, we would have, again, your name. We would have the APN number now, the legal description of the property, your address, the purchase price, and then we have some other important things that we are representing about the property. We are promising you that the property is going to be free of all liens and taxes are current. We are going to warrant that the property is available to you at the time of the contract, that you hold the right to limit, that we hold the right as a seller to limit the timber on an area, that we have the warranty deed to the property until the property is completely paid, that we will pay taxes on it this year, and you're going to reimburse me, which is those monthly dates we were talking about, that I will notify you by email if you are at default, that you have that grace period we were talking about, and then we have all the details of the purchase price and the note servicing fee, and that we will, most importantly, record the title warranty deed to the county and state within 30 days of payoff. So this is all of the great information that we are promising you we're going to do all this stuff. Then you sign it to agree to it. And then we have another agreement as well that has a lot of good information on it. Pretty much repeats everything that we just talked about with the exception of closing costs in terms of how that would work. So you can see that if we go through a title company, that you'd be responsible for the title, but we will be responsible for the recording fees and the transfer taxes. And then other assignment information, nothing too important there. Now, one of the things that we have that's different from other land folks is we have a 90-day money-back guarantee and a construction policy. So we have several guarantees that we put on all of our properties. Guarantee number 1, that we have a 90-day money-back guarantee, that you can cancel your purchase at any time. Any cancellations made after 90 days have made before, 90 days, have your principal and interest refundable, but not the prorated taxes, homeowners' dues, etc. So basically, what this is saying is that, hey, you have 90 days. You change your mind, we're going to give you back any principal and interest that you have put into the property. So that's a guarantee we stand behind. We also have a lifetime credit guarantee where maybe you've gotten past the 90 days, maybe you've made 6 months of payments, that we're not going to refund your money at that point, but let's say you just run into a horrible situation where we're not going to refund the money, but we're going to give you a guarantee of the principal and interest that you have put into it. And you can apply that in the future to another property when you're back on your feet. So that's another guarantee we have. Another guarantee we put in here is a swapping policy guarantee, because we want you to be happy with your property. And so we allow a one-time swap to a property of your choice. And we'll tear up the old contract, and we promise you for that one-time swap that there's not going to be any additional document fees. It's not going to be prepayment penalties and no funny business. And of course, if there's a higher price on the property, then we'll have to chat about it and see what will work out for both of us. And that's, of course, while you are current on your property. And then we have a construction policy, which is also something different than a lot of land investors, that if you have made 180 days, 6 months of payments, that you are welcome to start constructing or living on the land. Now, of course, I have to approve in writing any construction that you do, because we still own the lot and you're paying us. And you're going to have to get all the necessary permits and all of that kind of stuff. And so just abiding by the rules of the land. And then we have the receipt that you have paid for the property. So this is all of the land contract, all of the really good stuff that we have on here. All right, well, with that being said and done and out of the way, I want to show you this property that I'm really excited about. This property, you can see, has trees, lots and lots and lots of trees. It's right here at the corner of Marriott Circle and Redfield Place. Let's scroll out a little bit to learn more about this property. You can see there's just tons of trees in this area, lots of roads, so it's easy to get to. You have great access. There's some grass nearby. You can see by some of the features that there's some mountains around. So if I change this to a 3D view here on Google, to look at the mountains all around you here. You can see it's kind of in a little bit of a valley between mountains. Just great, gorgeous mountain views all around us here. Scroll out a little bit further. There's Highway 160, which you can see this is how you'd get to the property right off of 160. Fort Garland is the nearest city. There's Mount Blanca we were just looking at in the 3D view. A little further west of Fort Garland is Blanca. To the east of this property, we got La Veta. We have Walsenburg. If we do some directions here, let's see how close it is to Pueblo. You're about 2 hours away from Pueblo. Another city nearby is Alamosa. You're about 1 hour from Alamosa at this place. Alamosa has a regional airport, a Walmart, that kind of stuff. If we scroll out a little further, you can see kind of Colorado Springs is right here. So about 2.5 hours from Colorado Springs, about 3.5 hours from Denver. And again, you go right down 25 here and then take it west. Now, a few things about this area that are unfortunate, but perhaps an opportunity, is back in the middle of 2018, there was a fire that started right about in here on the west side of this property, or not of the property, well, far to the west of the property. And that fire swept through this whole area that I'm circling here, which is pretty much most of this subdivision, which is called Forbes Park. As a matter of fact, if I do a larger circle here, anything above the lake pretty much had the fire go through it. Now, what's cool about this particular property is even though the fire went through, you can see there's a lot of nice looking trees that are still around. There are, of course, some burnt ones, as you can see here in this photo. But there are, again, as you can see in this one, there's lots of beautiful trees. And you can see in the picture behind me, some beautiful trees that are still around, still healthy. Grass, obviously, has been growing back the last year plus. Again, lots of healthy trees still here. There's some nice flat areas for you to build on. Have some nice views of the mountains and surrounding areas. Again, you can see the health of a lot of these trees is still great despite the fire. There's a beautiful grassy area that is really close to the property here. And you can see the power lines coming through. As a matter of fact, if we look back on our map, The power lines that we were looking at are down here. This property, the power runs right here on Marriott Circle, and it goes down here to Redfield. And if someone wanted to buy several lots, we own this one, and this one, and this one, and that one. All of these connected lots. Here we're featuring 2 of them in terms of what we are looking for. Again, just look at a few more pictures here of this property. You can see that some houses didn't get touched. Again, some really nice looking trees all around. You can see a picture there of Marriott Circle. A little bit more about this property. It's in an area called Forbes Park, which this is our website. We're going to link here in the show notes, fploa.org. They have a good FAQ website that we are going to link here in the show notes. So down here, there's some really great information about hunting. There is tons of good hunting nearby. Now, you can't actually hunt on this lot, but there's BLM land. There's 4 different access points into it. And of course, if you get the right license, you can go there. As a matter of fact, if you look at this picture I have up right now, there's 2 different areas, hunting areas, Area 83, Game Unit 83, and Game Unit 85. This lot borders those 2 lots. And there's tons of elk in this area. If you look here on this website, you'll see that 83, which is where the lot actually is, but it borders practically 85, there's 16,000 elk. 16,000 elk. That covers about 60,000 acres in GMU 83. And so there's lots of good information about that elk are usually above 10,000 feet, which this lot I think is 8,000 or so. And they tend to move down after a heavy snow. So late October, early November, around the time I'm actually recording this, is a fantastic time to go. And there's a few good hunting places I would recommend if you're looking for an outfitter to take you out. Stony Creek Outfitters do a great job. Trophy Hunting Adventures, LLC, and the Colorado Hunter are all good information about hunting in this area. Again, lots of deer and elk and wonderful wildlife that go through. In Forbes Park itself, that's not an area that you can hunt, but you do have access to BLM land and all of the elk that come through here. So these lots, a little bit more about it, 2.6 acres altogether. Again, you do have electricity that runs right by the property. Taxes are only $200 a year. For each of those lots, the dues are about $20 a month each for them. And again, you do have lot power a couple lots away from each property. I was talking earlier about the lots that we own. These 2 I'm featuring here are 2 lots ending 250 and 260. We do own 270 and 280 as well. So if you wanted like 8 acres or 6 acres instead of 2, we could sell you all 4 of these lots. So if there's something that you're interested in, definitely let me know. Would love to tell you more about these properties and talk to you more about them. Well, my friends, that about wraps up the episode for today. Would love to hear your bad dad jokes. If you have one, would love to feature them on the podcast. Make sure to submit them to me. Contact at genfamproperties.com. That's contact, GENFAM properties.com, or submit them through Facebook. If you have questions about the property that we feature today, give me a call, 775-234-2058. Thank you again so much for tuning into Land Stories with me, your host, Dave Deniston. Make sure to check out all of our properties at www.genfamproperties.com. And if you are looking for land, it would be my honor to speak with you. Give me a holler. Give me a call, 775-234-2058. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.